this demo I decided to choose a landscape format of the painting, and there's only maybe kind of curvy landform here, and these are the trees and the far, I mean they're with different shapes, and I'm adding a dark value on the top of the tree, so it shows the variety of shapes, light and dark, and the light direction will be from right to left, so it's obvious that when we have this direction from the light, so all the shadows will be on the left side of the trees. In this case, when we identify the light direction in our painting, it will be very helpful for us to know where the direction actually of the shadow in the painting is. So, and I'm trying to define, so this part will be the sky part, and these are the green areas, and maybe here we have a kind of light green with grass, so it will be some shadows in this area, but in terms of value study, I believe we need a kind of maybe we can add some dark greens here, and but without adding details. So the reason that I put dark here because I wanted to get a kind of continuity between colors, and if I divided my my frame by 4, so mostly, you know, there is a, so if this part will be still I mean part 1, 2, 3, 4, I can say there is a balance between all these 4 parts in my painting. So it will be a simple landscape, but we can learn maybe three techniques of watercolor. I use wet and wet technique for the sky and this area for the green. Maybe I use wet on dry in the grass area, and maybe dry on dry, or maybe using the dry brush stroke here to show the shadows and the green part of it. So let's go for the painting. Okay, I think as I told you before, when it comes to my palette, I have 4 parts again. There is blue areas, there is brownish areas, dark brown areas, there's light brown and red areas, and there is yellow and oranges area. So that's the if I organize my palette like this, when I want to use a specific color, I go and find it on the I mean specify area there, and I choose it based on the tone of the color or the value of the color. So if I want, for example, a light yellow, or I mean maybe the dark yellow, so maybe orange for the color of orange for me is the light, for example, it's a light yellow. So that's the way that I try to organize my palette. And when it comes to the sketching for watercolor, I follow the I mean the value sketch that I did before, and I try to identify some major shapes that I want to show, but you know, because I didn't follow the I mean all the elements in the reference photo, I also am not following what's happening on the sketch, on the value sketch, but I try to, you know, study the value sketch more and found you know, the main elements I want to show, and I want to emphasize in my painting. So for the sky, I make the area wet, so that's why that it will be a kind of wet on wet technique, because I don't want to show rough edges, so that would be helpful to, you know, to make the area completely wet. And I choose a blue color and put it directly on the sky. It's better to let the color, you know, go even in the green part. So when I put the green color on top of it, there's no specific separation between the color of sky and also the green color. So in watercolor we always start from the light color and add dark color later. So that's why that I start from the light green, and I try to put a variety of lights there. So I mix it with oranges, yellow, and light green, so it gives me the variety of warm and light green. In some part even I can use red and use it in the green area. So for the grass part, yeah, so the paper is dry, and my brush is also dry. So in some part I can get some textures like these ones. So there is a kind of white, it leaves the white of the paper, so that will be a good texture actually. So that's one technique that we can use if we want to get to use the white space of the paper. I'll add some light green and let it to dry. So there were some dark green in the foreground, so since the paper is wet I can add it. So see, when the paper is wet and you add the paint with less water, so it gives you a kind of specific shapes. So the effect is in specific shapes. And since the direction of light is from right to left, I'm adding dark green on the left side of the trees. So yeah, we talk about it, how to make the green darker. So if we add the yellow to green, it will kind of dark green, but the color will be a cold feeling. So but if we add red to it, we can get a dark green, but it will be warm. So it will be warm dark green. adding some shadows on the bottom of these trees. So and they were dark greens on top of those trees, so I try to find to specify their shape even. Yeah, these are really, I mean, these shapes actually helps us to define the specific tree, so try to use different shapes and different forms. Since the surface is still wet, I'm adding those details here. So these are grass, and even I can add I like to add some red color in my painting, but not a lot, so maybe I use I use this color and put it like a flower thing here so people can see. Maybe this is nice too. Yeah, so I think it's good, and yeah. And one thing that maybe one technique that I like to do is using, I mean, splash the color on the paper. It's really helpful when it comes to so it's it gives you a kind of pointish areas, and in terms of texture, actually I like it. So anyway, I would like to add some maybe more dark green, and I think by adding that, I mean, dark greens, my painting gets I don't need to work anymore. So I try to be very loose, I mean, to do in my watercolor painting, so I don't want to you know, go to details and show all part of the painting. So for me, that's enjoyable. Okay, so I think it's finished, and I hope you guys enjoy the process, and please feel free to ask me any question, and also subscribe my YouTube channel to get more lessons in watercolor. Thanks.